Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. It is another month that has gone by, which means we've got another supply of Atlas, Atlas coffee. We're going to be figuring out what we got in this box today, and then I'm going to spice it up a little bit today. I'm not going to do a video solely on Atlas. I'm going to end it with this guy here. And in the last video I recorded, I told you guys that I wanted to do another one to try to dial it in as an espresso. I didn't nail the dial in during the video, and I felt like I needed to do it justice because it is a higher quality coffee roasted by a great roaster here in Philly. And I figured off camera what I could do with this coffee was just try to figure out where that perfect dial-in spot is for the coffee. I couldn't do it. I went through about 80% of that bag and I couldn't pull it off. And I was a little bummed out. I was using AI to just help me dial it in and tweak it as perfectly as possible to extract the best possible result as an espresso with that coffee. But I think I'm hitting my limitations with my equipment, and I couldn't do these beans justice. So I think what we'll do is we're going to do it as a pour over, and we're going to see if we can get some of these tasting notes out. I've struggled to get close to the apple. I didn't really get an apple taste. I was able to get some citrusy notes, but I feel like when you under extract the coffee, you're creating more of an acid bomb, as they say, which can relate to a little bit of a citrusy note in a coffee. So maybe that's what I was tasting. But let's try to chase that at the end of the video. We'll try to dial that in. I already have the kettle on the stove and ready to go for the pour over. So let's open this box. Let's see what we got today from Atlas. We'll make an espresso with that, obviously using the Bambino, and then we'll do a nice little pour over at the end. Let's do it. Just getting my little razor knife out. Let's cut into this and see what we got. So the last one, I believe, was, I still have it? I still have the last one. I almost went through it all. But the last one we had was Mexico. So we had North America. Before that was Tanzania. I feel like we're either going to get a Central American coffee, South American, and I have a slight feeling there could be a Middle Eastern coffee introduced here. I've been seeing a lot of Yemen coffees pop up recently, especially at one of my local roasteries. So curious to see if we'll get like one from Yemen or something like that. Beautiful bag. Let's see. New Guinea. Let's go. Oh, that's sick. Papua New Guinea. There you go. Postcard. Papua New Guinea. Beautiful bag, too. It's really, really nice. All right. So this is going to be the Day District, Western Highlands, wash coffee, 1,400 to 1,650 meters above sea level. Medium roast. I got to log on to see why I'm getting medium roast. It's a little funky, but let's open this bag. Let's see what the beans look like, and get an espresso ready to go. Get this out of the way. Let me smell. There's a scent in there that's familiar, but I don't know. I can't pick out what it is. These are the beans. Looks pretty nice. Hold on. Let's see, is that better? Yeah, there you go. So we're going to measure out. Let's do 19 grams. And you know what I'm going to do? Let me I'm gonna do it at the 6th grind setting. I forgot what you call it, but I'm going to just run a couple beans through the grinder to just have those beans like last used in the grinder. This way, if any extra coffee falls through, then obviously it'll be from this bean and not another bean. All right, the kettle is already boiling, so I've got to slow that down a little bit. All right, let's do 19.5. Let's get you guys moved over here. Let me see. We can go like this. All right, let's do 19.5. Let's do 19. Not in it. No halves. No halves. Almost there. One more bean, please. 19. 18.9. We can rock with 18.9. We'll get this grinded up. Again, we'll shoot for the 6th setting. I'm not going to use... We're not going to use a paper filter this time too. We're gonna just rock without it. I've been trying to test. I've been going back to my puck prep not using the paper filters. And it was it was this coffee here that drove me crazy enough to stay away from paper filters, just to bring the puck prep back to basics and try to really figure out why I couldn't get that nailed for espresso. But let me get this grinded up really quick. You know what's funny too? I was so tempted. I was on Bodhi Leaf Coffee Traders, which is where I buy my green beans from. And they had, I think it was them or Sweet Maria's, because I was tempted to try Sweet Maria's out. But they had a Papua New Guinea batch of green bean coffee that I was so close to pulling the trigger on. But I decided against it because what I'm going to do, I'm going to abandon the Costa Rican coffee that I have. I obviously failed twice on those roasts because I'm pretty sure they're old, and I'm pretty sure the other coffee that I have are old. But just to compare one old coffee to the other, I'm going to roast the Ethiopian coffee that I have currently. I have roasted some fantastic roasts or coffees with that Ethiopian coffee, and I'll know for sure if it's old or not based on how the roast comes out, because I could just go back to one of my old roast profiles that I liked, that I roasted a few years last year or the year before. I think 2 years ago now. Wow, 24. And I could see what was best, what I liked the best, and then figure out and then implement that roast profile into the Ethiopian coffee. And if it comes out tasting bad, then I know that the coffee I had all needs to go. But I'll probably end up possibly using it as compost for my garden for this spring. But I need new coffee. So we're going to do one more test. I'll probably attempt it this weekend, maybe on Saturday. I'll roast, and I'll have you guys alongside me with the roast, and then we'll revisit the coffee once. I think we'll revisit it during a cupping, because with the cupping you could wait 24 hours to 48 hours, unlike actually brewing, where you really should let the coffee develop. For whatever reason, you can do a cupping shortly after roasting. And I guess I don't really understand that either, because typically you want coffee to develop after roasting. And sometimes it'll need at least a week, 2 weeks. Some need up to a month. So it's interesting that you can get away with it with cupping and still experience all of the flavor that's there in the coffee, even right when development starts. But curious to know what's going on, if these coffees are salvageable or not. But turning it back to the Atlas coffee, I'm a fan. I've had Papua New Guinea coffee before. I don't know if I've done it on this channel when I first started recording myself drinking coffee when I was in Austin, Texas. I feel like I may have had coffee then, or right before I started recording or vlogging. And I remember having a good experience with it. I don't remember much though, because my memory is not the greatest, unfortunately. Okay, I think this is ready to go. So let's get this into the machine. I'll bring you guys over and we'll see how this turns out. I'm gonna get the kettle turned back on too right now. Let's get you guys over here. We lost some coffee grind, so we're not at the 18.9. I didn't even look what the retention was. I was so busy talking about my old coffee. Terrible, terrible vlog, Mr. Nick. All right, we got that over there. That's lined up. Needs to come forward just slightly. Auto drips on. Let's get you guys into view. Let's go. Let's see, is 6 the number? Maybe not. Frick. It's too fine. Too fine. All right. Round 2 with the prep. We'll do 7. But I'm gonna fly through this prep and we'll tune back in when it's in the machine. All right, we're ready to go. I have this prepped. It's a little over 19 grams, so a little bit of the first puck prep, the first coffee grinds that I did came through, which means it's in here, but it's mainly on a 7 setting. It was on the 7 setting when I was grinding. So let's see how this turns out and hope that we get a little better extraction. Much better. Much better compared to the last one. Nice, nice crema. That's still a little on the fine side, I'd say. We're looking at, because it didn't start the timer until like 5 seconds later, 6 seconds later. So we're looking at about 35-second shot. You could see the crema's a little on the browner side, which in my mind means that there was a lot more heat applied to it. And it's going to result in a more darker tasting roast, even if it is a medium roast. I didn't look at the tasting notes. I do have it right here. So let's see what happens. Hopefully we get something. Like one thing that stuck out to me, and I don't know if it's completely true, but when I was smelling the coffee, the Atlas coffee, it reminded me of a lot of the other coffees that we've gotten from Atlas. And there's always that one similarity within the scent of the beans. And I feel like the first word that came to my mind was like metallic. Like it had a metallic scent. And I don't know if that's the correct word that the correct thing I'm smelling, But there's a similarity across all of the roasts, and I don't know what it is, but metallic is the first one that comes to mind. It has like a darker scent to it. Like, I probably have to dial this in, and I don't do it. All right. So I'm getting ashy. I'm getting like a darker taste. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to I'm going to grind it at an 8 and see what the difference is. So let's do this again. All right, we're back. We're on the 8 setting for this roast. And let's see how it turns out. I'm not going to delay the pump. I delayed it a little bit, but that's fine. Pre-infusion wasn't extended. See, like this is coming out much quicker. Probably a little too quick. 20 grams at 9 seconds. 30 grams at 14. All right, yeah, so that was too fine, too coarse. So under extracted for sure. But you know what? It still has that same darkerish crema. That was all crema. Honestly, it tastes the same. Just like it's dark, like you're getting caramels from. You're getting caramel, like I guess caramel. You're getting caramel in there. This, I mean, it's not. I don't think this is a medium roast, man. This one was roasted dark purposely to hide any imperfections, I think, in the coffee. Let's see what tasting notes. Brown butter, roasted almond cereal. Brown butter, roasted almond cereal. Brown butter, I mean, yeah, I guess that is what I'm tasting. Brown butter. I mean, the tasting notes match, but for a medium roast, it's like, shouldn't there be some other hints? I guess not. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not as educated in the coffee world as I thought. Papua New Guinea's coffee heritage stems from the legendary Jamaica Blue. But I don't know. It's, I guess the fact that these tasting notes do match. Brown butter. It just tastes dark, man. It tastes like tastes like a dark roast. I'm not a fan, but what are you gonna do? I'm going to get you guys set up. We're going to end the video with a little pour over session. We'll try to clean up the palate a little bit, and then a high note, and then I gotta get to work. So let's do it. All right. So we're going to do, I think it's gonna be a 1 to 15. So 15 grams in, I think it's 225 grams out. And I'm going to do, once the water boils, I'll let it cool for probably under a minute, and then let it cool for under a minute, and then we'll heat up the filter in the cup, and then we'll All right, water's boiling, beautiful. So I'll let it sit on the stove with the stove off. We're gonna grind this at 21, which we're gonna do right now. We're gonna use the Yeti, and let me get my little mug. We'll use this guy. So I won't be able to do an overhead shot because I still don't have the right tripod to do it, and I don't want to hold it also when I'm doing the pour over. So I'm gonna leave you guys on the side of the setup, and once I get the whole tripod situation figured out, I can bring you back to the little overhead view. That's good to go. Okay, so yeah, Atlas coffee. I think I would reclassify that roast, or just give me back my lighter roast because I'd rather get something that's not as darker roasted as that was. But what are you gonna do? All right, let me go heat this up. No, I'm gonna bring you guys overhead. I can't not. All right, that's good to go. I'm gonna try my absolute best. Doing this with one hand isn't always easy. Turn that off. Let's get this put back. Oh, the mess, the struggle. All right, let's put that there. I'm gonna move my espressos over here. All right, so first things first, let's get this. Oh yeah, hold on. There we go. All right, coffee's in. Let's start with the bloom. I'm gonna have to start the timer a little earlier. See, one-handed challenges over here. So we're gonna do a 45-gram bloom. Boom. Not the greatest, hold on. And then I'm going to, this might be wrong, but try to get some of the carbon dioxide out that's trapped. So we are at 58 grams. Initially I wanted to do 60 grams, so that kind of works out. We're gonna go for 225. Sorry for my feet. All right, let's do, so 225. I want to do 2 pours. So we need 85. Let's go like this. All right, we're at 145. Hope this is correct. You know what? I just got an apple scent that just hit me right in the face. That was nice. I hope I'm doing this right, dude. I don't know. All right, we're getting close to the top of the sediment, top of the coffee grinds, which you should start seeing. All right. Let's go for it. Start from the center. All right, 229. That was fast. Let's get the side view. I don't know if, I hope I did this right, man. I need some good coffee. I guess one thing I've learned is as I've dived deeper into the craft coffee world, like I do enjoy my lighter roasts. I don't have much against darker roasts, but I've definitely ventured away from it. I don't know if this is going to be correct. That didn't work. It's a slow drip right now. I don't know if I watched someone. I think I could have interpreted it wrong, but Lance Hedrick talked about in I think a more recent pour over video where he used like a spoon to break up the coffee to help release carbon dioxide, because the trapped carbon dioxide will result in a lesser, like a weakened body or a not as flavorful cup. And maybe I'm doing it wrong and I interpreted it wrong, but that's just how I did it. All right, so we're at 4 minutes, about 18 seconds. We're gonna stop it right there, and let me get it prepped, and we could try it together. Pour over's ready. I don't know if it's done well. Like I said, I did get hit in the nose with an apple scent during the pour over phase, but I don't know. I'm not really well versed with pour overs. It's hot. So I gotta let it cool down. All right, let's let this cool down, and then we'll check back in a little bit. All right, give it a few minutes, checking emails. It's still hot, but I figured we could, it's still a little hot. So yeah, the Atlas coffee, Papua New Guinea. It was, I mean, listen, it hit the taste. I think it did hit the tasting notes that was mentioned on the card. I guess I'm just not a fan, you know. So I can't say this roast was bad. I mean, it does line up with what was on the card. In comparison to some of the other roasts that I've had from them, I don't feel like the tasting notes I've gotten match the card, which made me feel like a lot of the roasts that I've experienced were roasted darker purposely to cover up or mask any imperfections in the coffee itself, because maybe it's a lower grade coffee. But I mean, this one is fair. Like it hit the notes that it said, and I guess it's, like I said before, it's just making me realize that I do enjoy a more flavorful, fruitier, citrusy, like florally cup. Like I like the natural tones to come out versus a darker roasted coffee where you technically start to experience similarities from cup to cup. Like obviously there's going to be differences, just like lighter roast would be, but you're getting your, I forgot what that term is called, but when you start to burn the molecules right inside of the bean, to a certain temperature, they all start to burn and they start to deteriorate. Not deteriorate, but they'll go through like what the hell do you call it? They burn, and they start to release similar like notes, like tasting notes across the board, you know. And then the differences will come from the natural flavors that are in the coffee, you know, to start with. So like if you have like an apple tasting note, I don't know, maybe I'll just stop explaining it. I'm going to get lost in thought here, but hopefully you understand what I'm saying. I don't want to sound like an idiot. I definitely did, but yeah, I do enjoy like a solid medium roasted coffee, lighter medium coffee. I think that's where my preference has landed more recently. I don't think I'm getting too much. It's still a little hot, but I think with this coffee, I was using Grok to try to like fine tune the espresso dial in, and I couldn't get it. And it kept mentioning that this coffee, like it's a Costa Rican coffee. It was a finicky coffee. Like it needs to be, it needs the right equipment to be dialed in because of how tough it could be. But I guess that could sound, I don't know if that's true. I mean, I'm just going off of what I've read from AI pretty much. But I couldn't do it. Like I couldn't nail it. And it just reminded me exactly of the other coffees that I ordered from, I forgot the guy's name, that I ordered, we were trying to dial in over the summer. Who was it? I forgot. But they were expensive coffees, you know, and they were very high quality premium coffees, and I couldn't dial it in. And for most of them, like the first one I got from them, I was able to get like a nice espresso from it. But the rest of them was just tough. Like I couldn't. And and now I'm going through it with this. And I was doing everything in the machine's power where I was like holding down the double shot button to delay the pump to allow for a longer pre-infusion. But that kept resulting in like I don't know if it was burning the coffee. I don't know, but it started to all have similarities in the taste when I was delaying the pump, or it tasted like not burnt, but like a darker roasted coffee. I just couldn't do it, and now like I'm trying to get this pour over done, and maybe I'm not getting it right. Maybe my technique's off, but the other thing is like I have a machine that's more geared towards espresso. So it may be grinding the coffee in a certain way that's not allowing it to flourish in terms of its character, you know, what the bean has or is. So I don't know. I mean, it's definitely user error too. Like I'm not well versed with pour overs, so I feel like the last month or couple weeks has literally been failure after failure, and it's been tough. It's been it's been making me question so much, including roasting coffee. You know, like obviously I think it's because it's old coffee, but even that's been bad. So hopefully we can turn our luck around. We've had success on this channel with getting good quality espresso and whatnot from what I have in stash. So I did get 2 new coffees in. One of them was a recommendation from not a recommendation. It was one of our users, I think Black Lotus Coffee Roasters from Jersey. In the comments in one of my videos, they mentioned that Brainwave Coffee is their favorite Philly coffee roaster. So pick them up. We'll see what it is when I do a review of that. And then, like surprisingly, my fiance's cousin was just in the Philippines, And when she was there, she ended up picking up coffee from the Philippines. So we could try that out. That should be cool. 19th Street Cafe, freshly roasted. It's a medium roast, but it's French roasted. So I don't know what that means. Usually a French roast is darker. But we could experience those two together. We're going to roast some Ethiopian coffee. We'll see how that turns out. And hopefully we get some success, man. Like it's been strike after swing and a miss over here. And I don't even play baseball, so that's what you got. Not much there. It's very dull. I'm gonna just chalk it up to user error. I think it's on me. I feel like if a well-versed coffee enthusiast were to come and use my own tools, I feel like they could easily, or they could do better with what I have and get more of an experience out of the coffee that I have. So I'm gonna chalk it up to it being my fault, and it's all right. I think that's why like it's better for me to keep practicing off camera, because I could literally make a 2-hour video of failure after failure, where I'd rather try like get it close off camera to perfect dialing, and then on camera like fine tweaks, you know, and try to nail it on camera. But that's also the fun too, is watching my errors, my faults, because we go through it every day. We live through it, we learn from it, and it's what makes us better. But that's gonna be it for me. I gotta get to work over here. I'm excited to have you guys around to experience this. And hopefully February brings more more positivity, more fun, better experiences that we can enjoy together. Either way, glad you guys are here by my side, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.